Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chalk Talk. This is our 2022 NFL Draft episode where we go through our favorite bets, starting at our least favorite, going up to our favorite. But these are all bets that we have looked at and that we actually like. So we'll start at number 5. Who wants to start here?
I'll jump in. Out of my top 5 favorites, this being the least favorite of those top 5, I'm going to take the under.
I guess we should not say least favorite because then it's like, oh, well, why would I even bet this? It's just out of our top 5 is our 5th rank. They're still our favorite bets of the entire draft.
All right. Do you want to restart?
I guess I should, because if I say least favorite, then people are just like, well, why would I ever want to bet?
That's kind of what my brain did. Yeah. That's why. But yeah. So if we go top 5 favorite.
Yeah. Top 5 favorite.
Okay. You want to restart the intro and everything?
Oh, yeah. I guess
might as well, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I'm not trying to get to that.
People are going to turn this shit off.
I forgot you already started the recording, so I can just start wherever.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chalk Talk. This is our NFL Draft betting episode where we're going to go through and give you our top 5 favorite bets, starting at number 5. Who wants to kick it off here?
My number 5 draft prop is the under 6.5.
Oh, we didn't even introduce. Hang on, we didn't introduce our guest here.
Oh my god, bro!
We'll just keep going. We'll keep rolling with it. This is
no.
Yes.
No.
Jesus Christ! I am Nick.
I was gonna say I think I have to. They're gonna be like, who is this guy?
All right. Pause for 5 seconds and start.
All right, we got it.
All right, Corey, you do the intro and see how you like it.
3rd time's a charm. We're good.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chalk Talk. This is our NFL Draft betting episode where we're going to go through and give you our top 5 favorite picks, starting at number 5. Nick is not joining us today. We have replaced him with Frankie, a friend of ours, but I'd say out of anything related to the NFL, you pay attention to the NFL draft more than anything. Is that correct?
I mean, I would say it's a personal problem. I mean, it's going to bode well for this podcast.
Yeah, that's exactly why we brought you on here. I don't know anyone else that pays attention to the draft as much as you do. But I mean, as an Eagles fan, I don't know.
It's a good year to love the draft as an Eagles fan.
I mean, yeah, we're ripping off.
It's always a good year to love it until the Eagles draft some players. But
you guess, and he's already slandering. He's already becoming toxic PB.
Sorry,
it's toxic PB.
All right, so we'll start at number 5 for each of us. Work our way to our favorite and throw maybe a long shot in there. All right, so Alex, go ahead and kick it off here.
Yeah, coming in at number 5, I've got the under 6.5 wide receivers at -122 on FanDuel. I think that number is right at 6. So I like the under here. I'm gonna name the 6 that I think are going first round, and you let me know if I missed anyone. So we got Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Jameson Williams, Olave, Dotson, and then Treylon Burks. That's 6.
Yeah, I would say those 6 are gonna go in the first round as well.
Yeah, I don't see any other guys slipping in there. So I like this at -122.
Okay. Corey, you want to go next?
Yeah, my 5th favorite is going to be the New Orleans Saints first draft pick as a quarterback at +145. I think it's a position that they need to fill.
Stop before we continue? Can you please just tell me if this is
a real thing? That's not my pick.
Good gosh.
They are the 2nd favorite to land Pickett.
Yeah, they are. Okay, but actually,
we draft Kenny Pickett. I'm gonna have to get checked into like a mental hospital.
I had a poke and prod you earlier.
Already be there.
But actually, my 5th favorite pick is Breece Hall under 40.5. He's slated to be the first running back taken off. According to odd makers, he's minus like 220. So to get him at At under 40 and a half, there's a couple teams every year. There's someone who overdrafts for running back. And I'm not saying Breece Hall he's, a monster and he's, he has the same talent level in comparison as Jonathan Taylor. And Jonathan Taylor was taken out of that position a couple of years ago by the Colts. So I think someone pulls the trigger and takes him before 41. So that's going to be minus 114.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Aren't someone like the Bills even like a Super Bowl
Yeah.
ready team,
Yeah.
like one of the early teams that's
That's
kinda-
what I was saying. Like that means he would go first round. And
Yeah.
I,
I like that.
yeah,
I think under 40 and a half is pretty solid. Teams do reach on running backs.
yeah. So
Frankie.
I mean, that really cleanly segues into mine, which is the safest one, first RB drafted, Breece Hall, minus 275 on FanDuel. I think if you're looking at a position that you have the cleanest projection to success, just based off of athleticism, it's running back. He's clearly the most physically talented of all the running backs. Kenneth Walker is the only one that could potentially challenge him. He has pass pro concerns, doesn't have optimal size. I just feel like he's a shoe in for first running back drafted. If I was getting spicy, I would do first round because I think some of these teams at the bottom end could take it as this could be the piece that puts our offense over the top. Every single year, you have running backs that shouldn't go in the first round that go in the first round. And he has that exciting athleticism that, I mean, he's just ripe for an overdraft. So that's we'll start with the safe one.
Yeah.
Minus 275. Just if you want free money, I'd throw that in there. Unless he rips a bong draft night, which,
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I know you're laying heavy juice, but it does seem like pretty certain that he's going to be the first guy off the board at running back. And like you said, Walker's probably the only one that could even contend being the first above him. Mine kind of I mean, it could happen out of the first round, but I have Christian Watson under 39 and a half draft position. I think this is a year, and I know you said under 6.5, but it's going to end up segueing into another pick I have. That's my favorite. But I just think in a year where so many trades in this offseason and so many of these wide receiver contracts that have just like set records, you're going to see teams that prioritize wide receiver. And there's a lot of wide receiver needy teams at the end of the first round. You have the Packers in there, you have the Chiefs in there. I just think that Christian Watson's a guy that, in addition to those guys that you had mentioned, Alex, I think he's still going to go in the first round, but I do think under 39 and a half is a pretty solid bet there. So yeah, that's that. I'd start at number 5. That's one of my favorites that's minus 105 on DraftKings. All right. So the next one we got, who wants to start off here? I guess we could go right back to Alex and just keep going in the same order.
Sure.
yeah, that's fine.
Sure. Next one I got, fourth favorite is Garrett Wilson under 9.5 at minus 114 on FanDuel. I think the Falcons go up and get him here. I don't see them taking a quarterback at what is that, at 6? Or no, at 8. Sorry, at 8. And I think Garrett Wilson's the first wide receiver off the board.
Wait, what was his odds?
Minus 114, under 9.5.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I had a similar bet, which I'll take it off the board. I won't mention it, but it was the Falcons' first pick, draft player receiver, minus 125. So I was just seeing what it would be. So I guess that would be the only reason I would come into play if someone reached.
If they went like Jameson Williams or something,
Yeah,
like didn't
yeah.
go Garrett Wilson, like still not.
So I guess if you want to just be safe and just lose the 9 cents, I mean,
Yeah.
might as well do that. So
Yeah.
just jump in there. So for my pick, and take another player draft position is going to be John Mechie, under 56.5. Yes, he's coming off an ACL tear, coming out of Alabama in the championship game. But we have seen that ACL tears are not what they used to be in the NFL. Cam Akers tore his ACL, in like July this past year, and was ready to play week 16, 17. And he actually made a difference. It wasn't like he just was in for like 4 or 5 snaps. He was getting a workload. So I think teams are going to be looking at that and just be like, this guy's talent was probably late first round if he didn't tear his ACL. So I'm saying high second round, this guy's going to be taken. So under 56.5 at -114 on FanDuel is what I like next.
Okay. I don't mind that. I think with this wide receiver class and just the landscape of the NFL, I think wide receiver is going to be a very valued position, especially in this draft. So any wide receiver unders, I feel like I like. Frankie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's going to be a priority mid second round. So yeah, I like that one a lot too. And yeah, mine, looking at number 4, Boye Mafe, first round, -140 on DraftKings. So he was getting a lot of hype throughout the season, and he was a Senior Bowl standout. And then he went to the combine, and his RAS score is 9.92. Only person better is Trayvon Walker. Dude's a freak. And I think when you're looking towards the back end of the first round, there's a couple teams that are in dire need of edge help. I'm looking at one team in particular, the Chiefs. They have Frank Clark wildly underperforming. And can anyone on this tell me who their second edge is outside of Frank
No.
Clark?
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, they need help bad. A lot of people have linked him to David Ojabo. I mean, he's coming off the Achilles. I'm thinking if you want someone that's going to help you make a late run and just a freak edge that you can hope to develop and is going to be just an absolute monster, if you just put him in third and long, Boye Mafe.
All right. I like it. All right. I am going with some plus money here. So you get plus 190 on this on DraftKings, and it's under 2.5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. And, I do understand that, teams always reach on quarterbacks, and it's very important to get a quarterback in today's NFL on these rookie deals. That's just ideal. However, this is one of the weakest quarterback classes in some time. And I think at plus money, I do. So the 2 quarterbacks that I think go in the first round are Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett. I don't see another one go. I mean, I could see another one going like Desmond Ridder or someone like that. But I think at plus 190, you're getting pretty solid value on getting at under on that. So I like this one. What?
Only team that scares me is the Lions at 32.
Yeah.
The Lions at 32 scares me on that one.
I get it. I just think if this was even money, I would probably take the over. I just think at plus 190, there's value in a class that's very weak. And
Definitely.
yeah, the Lions is the one team that worries me, like right at the end, going like Ritter or whatever, Coral or someone like that.
Go ahead.
What teams are going to take a quarterback, PB?
Say that again.
What teams are going to take a quarterback in the first round?
Well, I think the Steelers do, depending on the Baker stuff. We have to see how some of these things shake out, because the Steelers did say they'd pick up Baker if.
Yeah, but I just heard that Ian Rappaport reported today that the Browns are not going to trade Baker.
Okay, so I think the Steelers and the Panthers are 2 teams that would get someone like Malik Willis and Pickett.
Okay.
But my long shot bet is where Pickett goes, and I'll wait till the end to give. That's my plus 3,000, and it's, I'll wait to give that one. But
Yeah, I would just say the one thing I'd be concerned about is I'm thinking back to the Lamar Jackson draft, trading back end late first round, someone's targeting QB, they want the 5th-year option. It's such an advantageous thing for teams to do with so many QBs in that late first, second round sort of space. I think the Lions would definitely be interested in trading out of 32 for a team that wants to come up. and get their QB of their choice with the 5th-year option. So that'd be the one thing that would concern me with that bet. It's
I mean,
not the Lions, but it's someone trading with the Lions.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Lions are trading back from 32. Like they don't lose, their next pick is 34. So that's that's a position where they're like, we don't really need this. And the 30 to 32 are crapshoots anyways. I mean, it's basically players that should go into the second round. So yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, this is just a value pick for me. I have it ranked number 4. I just think it's worth a shot at plus 190. So
Yeah. On FanDuel, you can get right now the line there is 3.5. Under 3.5 is minus 250. So
yeah, so that means they're thinking that. So between both books, it's seeming like they think exactly like 3 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round, which is probably the likely thing. But I think in a weak quarterback class, getting under at plus 190 is some value. All right, so moving to our third favorite. Go ahead, Alex.
yeah, coming in at number 3 for me. I'm torn on this one a little bit. It's between the top 2 corners in the draft. So I like Sauce Gardner's under 5.5 at minus 108, but I think there's really good value on Derek Stingley being the first DB taken at plus 250. He's had a lot of buzz recently, and plus 250 for a guy that is definitely neck and neck with Sauce, I could see going first off the board. So I think that's great value, but I like both of them.
Okay. And which book was that?
That's on FanDuel.
Okay.
Okay. For my next pick, I'm going plus money here, plus 250. The Indianapolis Colts first player drafted receiver at plus 250. We just talked about how many good receivers are in this draft. We just mentioned Mechie, and I think I would love for the Colts to pick up him. I mean, unfortunately, with the recovery time, the Colts might be looking for someone to fill in now, and I'm not sure how long or how far he is along with his recovery. But we've mentioned before that, people are coming back faster than normal. But again, it's a position that the Colts have to fill. I mean, if you guys weren't a Colts fan, name the Colts receivers besides Michael Pittman. Can you?
Ashton Dulin.
Okay, there's one.
He doesn't count.
Does he start?
I'm just saying that.
If he had less than 15 catches last year, he doesn't count.
We have Paris Campbell, but Paris Campbell can't stay healthy. So it's like the Colts need to fill that position. If they're not going to do it through free agency, which they haven't done yet. They could always trade for Debo unless the 49ers are asking for what they're asking for, then they can't afford Debo. But I think it's a position that, Ballard's always wanted to build through the draft, and he's a guru in the second round. So I could see him getting a receiver here at plus 250 too. The next odds is an offensive lineman, which the Colts have already signed their offensive lineman. They already said Matt Pryor is going to get the opportunity to start at left tackle, and he started there a couple of games last year. So I don't see an offensive tackle going there. So
Frankie.
All right, my third one. This has probably been a very predictable one for anyone. This kept in touch with me throughout the draft process. I'm going Kyle Hamilton over 10.5, minus 175 on DraftKings. I do like Kyle Hamilton as a prospect. I don't think he's a generational prospect that he was kind of billed at the start of this. I don't know if anyone remembers the Ed Reed comps. It was a little over the top. Then he had the combine where people soured on him a little bit. But to me, this is just a simple math problem. We got probably 4 edges going in the top 10. So you have, as ridiculous as it is, Trayvon Walker is probably going to go first overall. You have Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, and then Jermaine Johnson. Then you probably have 3 offensive tackles, Kim Okwanu, Evan Neal, and then Charles Cross has a good shot. You have Derek Stingley and Sauce. I would say both likely to go top 10. Then you're thinking about how top heavy wide receiver Williams, Garrett Wilson. It just seems safety, not the most premium position, that it's going to be difficult for him to make kind of 10 under 10.5, especially when you think Derwin James, I would say, is actually the the generational prospects that we've seen. And then what, did he go at 17 or 18? And with where we're at now, I just don't see Kyle Hamilton going under that.
You said, wait, you don't see him going under
Right.
10.5. You see him going over,
Yeah,
right?
I'm taking it over 10.5.
Gotcha. All right. I know you've been a little sour on him. Well, that brings me to it's another safety pick. I have Dax Hill as the second safety taken at -175. I think that, Hamilton is going to be the first one, but I think between him and is it Cine as the other one that could go above him?
Wait, French?
C-
Scene.
Scene? I don't know why I thought it was
No.
Louis Cine.
Yeah.
Well, I think Cine is a little more underdeveloped, especially in the pass game and man coverage, where he's pretty good against the run. But I think Dax Hill, your boy from Michigan, he's a little more polished, and I think getting him as the second overall safety at -175, I think that should be in like the -200 to -300 range, probably between -200 to -300, because I do think Hamilton's number one, and I think Dax Hill would fit a team more like the Chiefs, who need like a replacement for like Matthew. I still think they could go receiver, but there's some teams back there that could use a better defender in pass coverage. So I like Dax Hill a lot at the second safety being taken. What do you think of that? That's your boy, Frankie. What do you think about him being second?
I mean, I think it's a lock. He has great versatility. They played him all over. You can play him at safety. You can play him kind of interior corner. You could put him outside if you wanted to. He's got a lot of the explosiveness. He was the #1 spark athlete coming out of high school. Just absolute.
You also
freak.
got to watch him a ton. Like, I mean, you're a Michigan fan,
Yeah.
so
I mean, I'd say he's the most underappreciated Michigan player to come through in the last decade. A lot of people are just like, he didn't make enough explosive plays. He just did his job. And I think that's when you combine that with the versatility, and then he's built like an NBA player. He's got a 6'7" wingspan, and he's barely over 6 feet tall.
do you think he's
Great
gonna,
build.
like, do you think he has any chance of going number one? Like, I really think Hamilton is gonna go number one. Just there's a lot of hype around him. Do you think there's any way he surpasses Hamilton, like goes above him?
No,
Okay.
Hamilton.
I just needed to hear that, because I don't think he's gonna go past 2 to like 3, but I just wanted to see if you thought that he could surpass Hamilton, because that's the only thing that I thought could happen. But I do think Hamilton's going one.
Hamilton just has too rare of a build. I mean, you're talking about 6'4", 220,
Yeah.
highly instinctual. A lot's been
Yeah,
talked
that's
about
Corey,
the
the boy.
40. Yeah, a lot's been talked about the 40. But if you look at his jumps, you can see the explosiveness. Someone that tall just is not built to get a great start out of the gate for a 40-yard dash. So there were really no red flags for Kyle Hamilton. I know the 40-yard dash was a talking point at the start, but it's like he's about as safe as it gets for a safety prospect.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I like that one a ton. So, all right, going to our fourth, this would be our second favorite. This is our second favorite pick. So go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so my second favorite pick here, I think may be a little contentious, but I've got Pickett as the first QB taken at +150. I think that Malik Willis is probably got a higher ceiling, but Pickett is the most NFL ready out of these guys. And I think a lot of these teams that are in this position of we need a quarterback right now are going to want a guy who's NFL ready. And I think Pickett's that guy.
I mean, also with that being said, I mean, if you look in front of them, I mean, the Lions are not taking Malik Willis at number 2. Texans are not going to take a quarterback. Jets, not. Giants, probably not.
No.
Each team is, everyone's going to want to trade out at that top 5 position, but this is not a draft to do it. Like, teams are not going to be willing to like move up positions, especially in the top 5. So I like Pickett going 6 as well. Matt Rule, I mean, had him committed to Temple for God's sakes. Like they have a connection. The owner went to Pitt. I like that as well. That was one of my picks as well, Alex. So I'm gonna do a 180 here. And I'm gonna take Jameson Williams at the number 10 overall pick at plus 300.
That was my favorite.
As the
one.
what? What is
That
it?
was my number one.
Oh,
Jamison Williams.
Number 10 pick at plus 300. That would be going to the New York Jets. Jets are not going to take him at the 5 position. There's better positions, which then kind of moves me into if you're thinking that this next pick I'm just throwing it out there at plus 950. If the Jets can't move from 4, it's a 2 pick. So it's their 4th pick and their 10th pick. With their 4th pick, they take Ahmad Gardner and then Jameson Williams at 10 at plus 950.
I like that.
I like
and,
it a lot.
and the thing is, your bet is voided if they trade out of 4 or 10.
That's cool.
So I mean, there's really, if you really think they're going to take Williamson at 10, which if you listen to Pat McAfee's show, they had the head sports maker at FanDuel on today, and they're saying they're taking the most volume right now out of any draft position. Jameson Williams at plus 300 at 10. So, I mean,
Okay.
I just like the bet. So yeah, sorry, Alex, for taking your.
I like
Good.
I
We were
like the
back to back
correlated.
top 2.
What, peeps?
Oh, I was just saying I like your correlated bet more than just the 10th pick being Williams, because then by having the parlay kind of, you're getting also the benefit if they trade out the bet's voided completely, because if they do go a defensive guy at 4, yeah, they're probably coming back with like you just having to pick that receiver or something at 10. So I like that plus 900 a lot.
Yeah. So fun little thing.
Frankie?
yeah, I mean, that really puts a damper on my second one. First wide receiver selected, Jameson Williams, plus 220 on FanDuel. I just think with the explosiveness and the separation, if you I've watched like a lot of his highlight tapes, and you just try to watch some of his just standard game tape. There's so many times where he just eviscerates an angle because he just finds another gear. And in this day and age, that explosiveness is going to be really sought after. You see the Dolphins just throw in the bag at Tyreek Hill. And then you look at, you're like, all right, well, he's just a one-trick pony. He's just going to be fast. He's a pretty clean route runner too. And you can see just the stats he put up. I'm pretty sure he had 17 touchdowns. He overtook Mechie, was supposed to be the de facto number 1. And he came in with a vengeance after not being able to start at Ohio State. I just think he's the highest upside. And when you look at the other wide receivers, they could challenge. Garrett Wilson seems a little bit safer. Kind of reminds me of like a Calvin Ridley sort of blend, but it doesn't have that enticing upside. And then Drake London, he has the injury. And one of the things you worry about with any player that has the possession receiver, basketball background, do they have the explosiveness to separate? And that's something he wasn't able to answer because he wasn't able to test. So I think if you're just going for highest upside, and I don't think there's a real contender to go above him, because I mean, at that point, you're shooting for upside when you're taking a wide receiver the first wide receiver, and you're taking one in the top 10. So I think he makes the most sense.
Yeah, it's Jameson Williams, man. He's just flown up draft boards. Everyone, I guess this ACL is just behind him. Like he just is apparently looked incredible on after this injury, and I'm still slightly worried. I'm not too worried, but anything with like an ACL, I'm always going to be a little hesitant. But my second favorite pick, this is where there's some disagreement. Mostly I feel like Alex and I's picks have been I have Pickett over 12.5. I'm not a Pickett guy at all. Like this dude, if you just want a dude that's just gonna go out there and just he has zero upside. He absolutely none. This guy will never win you a Super Bowl. This guy's never gonna he's just a guy. And yes, he is the most NFL ready, whatever. And I get that that's why a team could take him. But I think teams nowadays, after seeing the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the Mahomes, just seeing how crazy some of these NFL talents are at quarterback nowadays, Kenny Pickett is not the guy. Like you just that is not the guy you pick. And so I think Malik Willis is still going 1, but I mean, both of those guys, Malik Willis and Pickett, could go past 13. But I do think Willis is picked first, and therefore I think it's even easier. It's at DraftKings, you get it at -140. You know, he probably goes somewhere between like 13 and 20.
So there's 0% of you that thinks the Panthers get him at 6.
No, I don't think the Panthers are getting him at 6. I think the Panthers, do they have another? Do they have 2 picks in the first round?
They've got 6 and no,
I
that's
thought they
it.
had another pick.
No,
No,
this
so-
one.
That's their only pick.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I just don't think. I mean, I hope the Panthers take him at 6. I'll tell you that as a Saints fan, because that would be great. But you know, and I'm the one thing, and I'm saying as a Saints fan, right now he's like +200 to go to the Saints at like pick like 16 or
16.
whatever.
Yeah.
I will absolutely lose my shit if my Saints team takes this guy. Like I could I'm a Willis guy. Like I think he has the most upside. Like he is one of the best runners since, well, he is probably the best runner since Lamar Jackson, who's like the best rushing quarterback ever. But I think there's some upside in his arm as well. And so I wouldn't be like too overly upset if the Saints got Willis. I'd be upset because I still think we should be going just for people to help Winston. But, you know, Pickett's going to ruin my night. I'll tell you that much come Thursday.
Can't
And
wait for the FaceTime.
Get the popcorn ready.
I can't
But-
wait for the FaceTime.
but I mean, if the Saints do take him, this bet is hitting because it's over 12.5. I just can't see a guy in this bad draft class getting taken under 12.5. So yeah, once the Panthers don't take him at 6, I'll feel really good about that bet. All right, moving down to our favorite pick. What do we
Yep.
got here?
Yep. So as mentioned, Corey took my favorite. I'm with him on the Jameson Williams +300 at number 10. So pivoting here a little bit, I'm gonna go Kayvon Thibodeau over 4.5 at +164. I think that a lot of teams are going to be scared of the narrative around this guy, and who knows if it's true or not, but he's been tagged as a guy who doesn't really love football. And be that as it may, a lot of these old school guys are not gonna waste a top 5 pick on a guy that doesn't love football. I also think too, if we get Trayvon Walker at 1, Aiden Hutchinson at 2, I think the Texans go offensive tackle. And
And
then
Jets could go corner again.
I think Jets go corner. I think they go Stingley or Sauce. And so
Yes.
that gets you to 5. That's the over right there. So I'll take that at +164. Yeah, +164.
Yep. It's pretty solid.
Yeah. So this is where I'm kind of like, I think I'm right with you there, Alex, with the Texans taking an offensive tackle here. And I think it's gonna be Evan Neal. So this is where it's kind of weird. So Evan Neal to be a top 5 is -130. But if you think the Texans are going to take him at number 3, he's +500.
Yeah. I was
So-
looking at that too. And
So-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's 2. It's Evan Neal and who's the other guy?
EQ,
Yeah. And
something
Yeah.
like that.
that, so
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, I mean, there you go. There's Evan Neal, and I mean, their defense is what it is for the Texans. It's not very good, but if they think Davis Mills is their quarterback, I mean, they have to protect him. They can't let him just get absolutely, crushed by defensive linemen and linebackers the entire year. So I at +500, I know it's your favorite bet is, supposed to be a little bit, safer maybe, but you got to take a shot here. I mean, it's the NFL draft. This is the number, like the biggest thing about the draft is sports books it's the biggest night where they lose the most money because the information is so widely available to everyone. Again, this is off the Pat McAfee show, so I'm just reading off of what they said, but like, he goes, just because of Twitter and leaks and everything about like, draft players get drafted so like regularly, and they talked about like year after year, like teams already know what they're drafting. Like the top 3 teams know what they're probably drafting unless there's a trade. So I mean, it's crazy. I can't remember what player it was a couple of years ago who got taken. The odds were crazy. It was last year, wasn't it?
Trey Lance, I think.
Trey Lance, yeah. It was like,
Yeah, that
Number
was a
2
great.
pick.
I had the top 5 exactly in order. $100 to win 1,500. It was a great.
well, that's what I'm saying.
draft.
Like, yeah, like that's what you did. But like Trey Lance was nowhere to be talked about for like
Yeah.
weeks, and all of a sudden it came out. And if you hammered it, you got it. And then
Yeah.
the sports books changed immediately.
Yeah,
The
So-
sports books know close to as much as the public
Yeah.
during
So,
the draft, and that's about the only time you're betting where you've got pretty much the same knowledge as the sports book.
yep. So Evan Neal plus 500 to the Texans at 3, or if you just want to be safe and him being the top 5, it's minus 130. So
They're the only ones that scare me about that Thibodeau pick. I could see Lovey Smith. That's the only one I'd be like, I don't know.
the Texans are notoriously bad for making stupid moves. So
That too. They are the Texans. That too.
all right, Francis, what you got?
All right, in typical Eagles fashion, I'm going to tell you about how I hate linebackers. But no, my favorite one, Devin Lloyd over 18.5, minus 138 on FanDuel. But yeah, jokes aside, I think linebacker is the deepest position group in this draft class. Just absolutely loaded. So just thinking about linebacker, it's not really a premium position. If we're looking at wide receivers, you got edge, some corners, in that kind of the teens, I just think it makes a lot of sense to pass up on Devin Lloyd. And to put this in perspective, the number of linebacker prospects that have over a 9.5 RAS score, 9.5 is 10.
Wow.
Yeah, and you have plenty of people in the same mold, kind of body type as Devin Lloyd. Obviously, they're not going to have the same kind of playmaking ability. He's going to be the first linebacker off the board. We had Troy Anderson, 10 RAS. He's larger. Leo Chanel, he's a bigger guy out of Wisconsin. They had him 40 bench press, just insane. You have Brandon Smith, Penn State. He was athletic freak. I mean, I don't think he can read an offense to save his life. So he's going to be probably round 3. But you have all these athletic freaks, Channing Tindall with the 42-inch vertical. So if you have any sort of kind of flavor you want of linebacker, and I think you're probably going to get 12 to 13 taken by the end of round 3. It's a very deep group. And so I think it just makes a lot of sense to kind of forego the top 2 of Lloyd and Dean and wait on some of these just stud athletes in the 2nd and 3rd round. So that's why I'm kind of out on Devin Lloyd.
All right.
all right. Oh yeah, it's me, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So my favorite, over 6.5 wide receivers taken in the first round. I just see 7. I think this draft sets the record for receivers taken in the first round. I believe the record is at 7 right now, and I think 8 would set the record. So the 8 receivers, you got Drake London, Jamison Williams, Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, who I mentioned, Jahan Dotson. Who am I
Say
missing?
Olave yet?
Oh yeah, Olave 7. So those are the ones that I think get you to that bet.
You think
Sky
Christian
Moore.
Watson's going to go first round?
What?
Did you just say Christian Watson's going to go first round?
Yes, I think he can go at the end of
That's
the
the
first.
one that I did not name off when I.
Yeah, so it's the same 6 Alex had plus Christian Watson, and then I think you could even see. I'm trying to look at the other
Sky
receiver.
Moore. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
Sky Moore.
Hi Moore.
Sky Moore would be the other one that I could see that squeezes into the first round as well.
I like his under. I think it's like 34.5, maybe. If you,
Yeah, I think he might
for six
be
and
a
a
little
half, I like his under there.
Yeah, I just think, again, this is a year where you've seen so many wide receivers just get absolute paydays, and you're going to want these teams are going to want to get these receivers. And this is the first year that if you pick a receiver, or actually, is it just receiver? Is it just you have any player in the first round, you have that 5th year option, the extension or whatever? You know what I'm talking about?
Player. I'm not positive.
It's like if they're taken in the first round, you have that benefit, that extra year. And so I think, again, for that reason, receivers are going to be a priority. And you have a lot of those needy teams like the Packers and you could see the Packers, they have 2 picks that you could see them go back to back receiver or something crazy like that after losing Adams. I mean, probably not, but then you have the Chiefs in there. Sky Moore. Yeah, Sky Moore was the other one on my list.
My take on the under two is I think that guys are NFL.
Oh,
ready.
Pickens. He's another one.
Wow.
I think I think we're seeing tons of college guys who are NFL ready at the receiver position, but I think that teams understand that there's going to be groups of guys every year probably that are like that, and I think they're going to address other needs first. But
I think you can get a lot of these guys in the second round. I mean,
Yes, but I think you're going to see such a. I
I
think you'll have seen such a run at the position where teams are just like, man, I need to.
think you're overthinking it.
No.
I understand where you're coming from, and I just think it's like a great analysis. I just think it's a little overthinking. And
Well, all it needs to happen. So it's the 6 that Alex had mentioned, and then you
Yeah.
have
just one more. Yeah.
no.
which I
There's
understand.
3 more that kid. If one of them goes in, it's Watson, Sky Moore, and George Pickens. If one of those 3 goes into the first round, the bet hits. And I think one of those 3 does. And I think 2 out of the 3 actually go to the first round. I think 8 receivers get taken in the first round, setting a record.
We shall see. But just for like some nominations here that I was kind of just rolling through really quick. Again, there are position of players for teams to draft. Like talking about the wide receiver position, the Cleveland Browns, first position draft, wide receiver at plus 270. They haven't filled. I mean, they got Murray Cooper, but that's it. Another one that's kind of iffy. I know the Bills have brought in a lot of cornerbacks, and I know they're probably looking more safety wise. That's the division they've lost, but they need help at corner. Is at plus 200 for their first player drafted. But again, we talked about the Bills. I just read something. The Bills have a huge crush on Bryce Hall, and the position for them to take a running back. And we've already talked about teams overreaching. Bills take a running back at the whatever draft position they are, like 29, is plus 600. So, I mean, if he's going to be, I mean, it's not like, I mean, you're not going to throw a lot of money, just a little sprinkle. But I mean, it's something to look at. So, and then lastly, the Saints to draft either Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis at minus 115. I think that's
You want to
all.
hear my plus 3,000?
But hang on, do you
If we
like
lost.
the fact that the sports books are making like this? It's unreal that you guys are going to draft one of these guys.
Draft
Like-
one of who?
Kenny Pickett or
Pickett or
Malik
Willis.
Willis. That's it's
Say, I didn't hear the second guy. Pickett or who?
Willis.
Malik Willis.
You think that we're for sure going to draft one of those 2?
The books do
Yeah.
is what Corey said.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've
Mine-
seen the books, and that's why I had to say that I'm going to be furious if it's Pickett. I will be unhappy if it's Willis, but I know there's upside there at least. I still think Winston's obviously going to be better than Willis, but the upside is there for Willis. Do you know? So my plus 3,000 is Kenny Pickett to the Eagles. That I think at a long shot at plus 3,000, that is worth a sprinkle
It's
because
at what, 16 or what?
yeah, they would get him at well, it would be 15 or 15 or is it 18? What's your second pick?
Yeah, to me, it's 18.
Yeah, so I think at 15 or 18, you could see the Eagles take them, and at plus 3,000, it's worth a sprinkle. I'm not convinced that they think that Jalen Hurts is the answer, and I do think there's a chance that they surprise people on Howie pulls a Howie and just take someone terrible like Kenny Pickett, and the Eagles continue their awful drafting. But it's obviously not likely. It's not likely at all.
Yeah.
But it's worth a sprinkle at plus 3,000, I think.
What's your sprinkle? Like a 10 spot?
Like a tenner, like just a tenner.
10
That's
grand?
10,
That's a lot, PB.
10 to win 300.
10 units sprinkle.
10 units. No, it's not like a full like 100 to win. I mean, you could if you got some deep pockets, but
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
not-
gosh,
I'm
that would
not
ruin
winning.
my night if that.
I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
lose money on Kenny Pickett in any way, so I couldn't do that to myself.
Kenny Pickett's kind of the worst QB to draft when I'm thinking it. Like Malik Willis he has the upside, but then his bust potential is also really high.
Yeah,
So it's either maybe pans out or you're going to get one of the top QBs next year. Pickett's good enough to make sure that you're in purgatory for 4 to 5 years.
exactly. That's
Um,
what I don't get about him. Like I don't understand
his
why a
hand
team
size?
ever want that.
You've seen his hand size?
Yeah, well,
Massive. Yes, not.
He wears 2
Yeah.
gloves, dude. What quarterback wears 2 gloves?
Uh,
Kenny Pickett does.
New Orleans
You know
Saints.
what?
Your QB.
Oh my! I'm gonna.
I really hope that happens.
It's gonna be.
Also, just people, you're gonna have to revisit when right after the Eagles and Saints traded, you were like, "Oh, this is such a good deal." If you trade,
Oh,
either
then it would
up
be.
for a
Then it will
QB
have
or you
been
get
terrible.
Pickett, it'll just be. It's just highway robbery.
No, it's what the trade is worth it with the Eagles. If the Saints' idea was we think the Eagles are going like a receiver here, and we also probably like this same receiver, and so we're
No, they obviously think the Eagles are going to take Pickett, so you guys had to move a Bevum to grab Pickett.
yeah, no, that's definitely not what it
You
was.
have to trade with the Panthers.
Well, let's just say I'm pretty confident both Frankie and I will be pretty livid if Kenny Pickett goes to one of our teams.
That'd be wild.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
I'm already triggered about it because Howie's done several things in the draft that just blow my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone lets him draft. Like he does a lot of other things well, but the draft, he just galaxy brains it.
And this is one of those things like,
This
oh,
is-
we could have our QB of the future. If Hurts isn't the answer this year, we got Pickett. Well, he's the answer.
Full-blown QB factory. You know what? I'd rather take Devin Lloyd. I'd rather trade up for Devin Lloyd.
I
than-
would too. Anything other than Kenny Pickett. That's the end. That's the takeaway from this.
well,
I'm also just convinced-
We'll make sure that PB will have to record yourself when the Saints are selecting the first pick, and if it is Kenny Pickett, we'll have to post it to our Instagram page, which we'll have to follow.
That's good content. right there.
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably be on a Zoom call with all of you watching it, so you'll have. Anyway. Well, that about does it for this episode of our 2022 NFL Draft Bets, and we'll see you next time for analysis after the draft, and hopefully Kenny Pickett is not on the Saints.
And PB's reaction to Kenny Pickett to the Saints.
Thank you for watching.